Hey everybody, welcome to BrickVault. Today is another LEGO Top 10 MOCs of the Week episode where I show you guys the coolest custom creations I happen to see people building in LEGO bricks throughout this last week. As always, way more than just 10 creations are going to be popping up in this episode. Check the links in the description below if you want to learn more about these designers. And we also got a link to our web store, www.brickvault.toys, where we sell instructions to amazing LEGO custom creations. This week, the custom build came from the designer Flying Waffle, and they are 3 excellently detailed little land speeders. There's a full video as well talking about these models. Everything linked in the description below. Let's check out some honorable mentions before the top 10. From Martin Vala, this is Desert Pony. Here's an awesome gold domed creation by Suck My Brick, and we've got a wonderfully round robotic mech from Moko called Gaugen. This has to be at least one person's sleep paralysis demon. The title is Lego Projectionist Costume this time around, and the builder is 221 Guy. Here's a fun little exosuit build from Pascal. The title is Mechanized Workforce. And now we're looking at a wonderfully detailed build from Hugo. The title is Hand of Tellus. There's both some LED lights installed here as well as a floating island in the center from magnets. Alien Cat calls this one Romeow and Growliet. And Ron Folkers built a figure with some amazing balance here. The title is Tomos Super Soldier. These are the exact kind of crossover builds that I love seeing from different themes. The builder Warscape titled this Halfling Faction Lord Shire Sheepshear, Lord of Hill House. The shearing scissors on the top of the staff is my personal favorite touch. From Christel, this is Guardian and Warrior Angels. Reminds me a little bit of someone you see in Diablo. And Frantisek has a wonderfully sleek little MIDI or micro scale build. This is the Lego Mil My 24 Hind. The NU class attack shuttle work in progress from Remco Rohan is turning out excellently. Kev the Builder has a lot of color in this Shipwreck Shores diorama. Once again, tons of color from Chris Perron in the Dwarven Jewel Craft shop. And lastly, we have some awesome details from Mountain Hobbit. The Tiki Shaman has some great, interesting, creative uses of parts the closer and closer you look. Let's jump now into top 10. Here is a red Squadron support craft from the designer Gruja. The U-Wing inspiration is pretty evident, and perhaps this could just be a singular modified U-Wing. We have seen this ship modified in a similar way in the past. It's a great integration of details that make the ship look like older and run down. You can see that the engines are a bit rusted out, a lot of discoloration on the wings as well, and it feels like a craft you certainly would see in the Star Wars universe, as so many of these ships and so many of the places in Star Wars feel very lived in. There's also a ton of detail included with this model as well from brickleas. This is Ruined Temple. I like the bricks strewn on their sides to show sort of a rocky walkway. You can even see some gray torso pieces with no arms to show a little bit of extra detail for the stonework in the semicircle. Also, torso pieces can be seen as the base of these columns. I like the little birdie in the nest, and a couple creative builds for flowers as well. Here's an absolutely impressive model from CKHO. The simple title is Violin, and this is an extremely impressive life-size design. The techniques for the strings, curved cut wood for the neck, and just general embroidery detail all around the body of the violin feel very logical, very well put together, and it makes me curious to see how strong this thing would be if you actually picked it up. And if you're keeping count, this is number 7, moving down, and the title is Viridi's Rage, and the designer is WoomyWorld. Viridi, this floating figure, reminds me very much of some of those bad guys from Warhammer 40k. I don't even know if you can say bad guy necessarily, but you know what I'm talking about. Electronic skeletons with a lot of glowing neon green. This guy seems to float on his own. Love the details for the ribcage and the crown or head, but Viridi doesn't feel complete until you see all of the slain bodies of his enemies beneath him. A lot of fun builds to get lost in here, but I don't want to get lost for too long. I feel like there's a lot of minifigure torsos being thrown around in builds this week. We've got some fun ones here from KitKat1414. This is titled The Masterpiece. You can see Leviathan underneath the painting here, but this is a forced perspective build where all of the paintings on the wall of this, let's say, museum are in fact builds behind the wall that make you think that they are Lego paintings. The Leviathan sails are made from minifigure torsos, and the prints on their chest make it look like the sail is blowing in the wind, let's say. There's a lot of depth to the ocean, stormy clouds in the back. It's just a really fun concept in general for a Lego model. Number 5 is from a builder called Apex, and the title is A7E3 Medium, and what we have are two slightly different builds for some amazingly detailed tanks. It looks like these models are just in digital right now. Maybe that's because some of the color combinations or color choices couldn't be totally done with these models, but structurally they feel very sound. I really love the rounded over details in the front with the 1x2s. The syringe piece for the small machine gun in the front for that separate turret is a good idea. We've got some interesting areas of stud reversal along the sides of the tanks, and in general we are just looking at some very complete little models. With the color change, I very much think these things could exist in real life, no problem. And now we're jumping over to Z Gundam from Nobu Terry. You can almost not tell that this is Lego built. This designer really captured those very anime-esque angles that you get with these large robots. I particularly love the design used with those brick-built body torso pieces along the feet. And for such a small, somewhat small size for this type of robot, you have almost no Lego studs showing, which is an extremely impressive thing to pull off at this size, especially at this size. I'd go on about more cool things about large Lego robots, but we've got another one coming up in just a second. Let me first jump on over to Straw into Gold. That's the title here, and the builder is LittleJohn. I hope you can guess the fairy tale that this particular image is from, and if you can't, check out the description below because the designer has a full readout for you if you want to learn more. Personally, I love the details here. Everything feels very simple and accessible. Those rounded 1x2s that make up the columns of the internal chamber of the castle is such an excellent look. The light cascading down onto all of the straw or the different yellow plant pieces looks great. And the build for the arcing stairs is detailed enough to look good, but not overdone in a way that will draw the eye. This is just a great composition in Lego bricks through and through. Let's jump on over to number 2 from aukbricks. This is titled Fashion Store. I love this. It's built in the modular design, so it's on a 32x32 base plate, it looks like, and it's got that tall, imposing, stark look that a fashionable outlet would love to have. This thing's done in complete white. There's a ton of lighting here, at least in the digital form, which I love. The build for the letters fashion works well. I love the design behind them as well. It's so simple, and this building also has a really great set of tall windows in the front, making the outlet feel very big and open and also very fancy, like you would want for a fashion outlet. Though it's just in digital, I have a feeling something very close to this would be definitely doable in real Lego bricks, and it would certainly stand out considerably if you were to integrate this into a city. Now we're jumping over to number 1. The absolute size of this thing really grabbed me. From the builder Buffoon, this is Evangelion Unit 2. It's not only an excellent recreation of the particular robot from this series, but to have done pretty much all of this thing in just Technic pieces and building at this insane size is just a feat that cannot be understated. There seem to be some pretty seamless color transitions and shapes when coming to the legs and the torso. The build for the head is very recognizable, and this robot seems to be built at a ready stance, or there seems to be a bit of energy in the actual standing version of this figure. I don't exactly know where you would keep this thing all the time. You really have to dedicate quite a bit of space in your house to have a figure like this standing around. It is 1.4 meters tall, according to the description, and that is going to be it for the top 10 MOCs of the week episode. Remember, if you enjoy our content, you can always like, subscribe, comment, share. Check out the descriptions that these designers leave. All the links to these designers are in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, sticking around to the end of the video, and we'll see you next time at BrickVault.